Yata for the sound of the mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of nonviolent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Amoga. Varochana Mahamudra. Mani Padme Jvala Avartaya.
change for the chanting of the refuge. So we are sounding as we chant the refuges first in Korean, which is in keeping with our tradition. Our founder, whose picture is just inside the door, round corner. He was training in those places. So this really has the Kapchong for those of you who know from Japan. Throw your silence. Yuan Mushin Sambo Te Cha Te Swa Sha Ne Yo Wan Gong Mu Che Jong Se Shata Il Shi I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
And realize the great way.
And realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
And transform this world into Buddha land unimpeded.
And transform this world into Buddha land unimpeded.
And may we all awaken together.
And may we all awaken together.
Our middle candle, sometimes this one kind, or sometimes actually in the flame, represents our special kind of recognition. I'm going to read to you. For my own awakening and the awakening of all life, may the benevolent energies of our practice this morning extend to all beings, that wars may cease and peace prevail. We acknowledge that this land where our temple buildings stand is originally the land of many peoples, the Potawatomi, the Ottawa, the Ojibwe, and our temple buildings and those on Woodland Street were the homes of Black Americans. Indeed, we acknowledge our great interbeing. So as we sit, let us sit in that acknowledgement and in that wish for our own awakening and being. So please go ahead and touch your This will be Tell yourself you are a secret. Consciously, moving the forms of the forward. Partly visible. Raise your sternum, this midpoint in the chest. Partly visible. Lower your shoulders to laughter. And imperceptibly bring your shoulder blades together. Imperceptibly up your chin and take the back of your head to the wall behind you. So the head feels balanced on top of this wall. Breathe along with your breathing. And how it's present with yourself. Breathe beyond your system. And as we do this 5 minutes together, return to fine-tuning your body, letting your mind travel over and over again, fresh in this very moment. Practice and shine for yourself and all. Just follow along with simple mindfulness exercises. Being fully present with your body, moment by moment. Bring attention to the breath, where your fingers rest. Eyes, the focus point behind you. Slowly changing from the center and then exhaling to the other side. So your spine is twisted, massaging the whole nervous system. And again, this way to bend sideways and massage the nervous system. As each vertebrae tilts open on the upper side and squeezes together on the lower. We go massaging the nervous system again with the vertebrae. And the other side. We need to stretch it. I think it's working, is it? Because I could hear all the buzzing. Ice on the pond out back. Bus this morning. And our second day of sunshine. Woohoo! We always had this little story that my teacher told many years ago. It's really wonderful when sunshine graces the breakfast table. And I think that's how it is when we haven't had it. And the way it is. It's really lovely. All right, so meditation. Okay.
Hey.
First, maybe a recap of last week, if you weren't here. We just remembered some Buddhist principles, or some. One was that they're suffering. Let's put it right. The second one, impermanence surrounds us. The third was cause and effect. So because of that, there's this. And it's happening simultaneously in the 10 directions. We're surrounded. Yeah. And what's the other one?
No self.
No self. There's no actual, substantial, separate self. But we're actually a process going on all the time. Okay, so that. And that when we are not triggered by all those things, we begin to settle into a more stable kind of life, happier. And so I posited to you, well, what are we going to do with this precious life that we have? Are we going to spend our time trying to look good and creating the illusion that we have power over all the circumstances? Or are we going to taste it, enjoy it, and find out the truth about who we are? How about that? So the key to working with all this is a meditation practice. And I don't know if you've worked much in gardens with different kinds of compost and manure, but the best thing to make a garden grow very, very well is chicken shit. It's so much better than horse shit and cow shit, or any other kind, in a certain sense. You should see the beans that grow, and the squash that grow, and the green. So meditation is like chicken shit for our life.
Amen.
But it's a very elusive thing, and what I've found over the years that everybody's trying to get it right, but every part of meditation is getting it right. It's not about some particular way. It's kind of interesting. There's a song, a little story in our Buddhist tradition. It's about 6 blind men who were asked to describe an elephant. And they were put at different parts of an elephant, one at the trunk, one at the ear, one at the belly, one at the tail, one at the back, and one in the lower tummy. And so then they had a good experience in each of those places. And as you can imagine, each one described the elephant much differently from every other person.
So our experience with meditation is like that. It's just completely unique.
There are some principles that we learn that help with our completely unique Buddhist meditation experience, for sure. So before I'd like to spend just about 10 minutes now for you, maybe about 10 of you, if you're willing, to describe what your experience of meditation is, what you think it is, and in a little nutshell. So that we can see that it's just like the blind one describing the elephant in a certain sense. And that metaphor of the elephant and the description really goes into every part of our lives. Everybody sees things a little differently. And so when we realize that, it's a different kind of, okay, you. So, who's going to be a volunteer? Oh, good, already, so we have to take the microphone. And I'll ask you something, each of you, is that I'm really hard of hearing. So in order for me to really hear you, would you speak slowly and loudly?
You want me to come more close?
So what may I reiterate? What does if you were to give a definition according to you of meditation, what would it be?
I'm new here, so for me, before this, meditation was by myself and trying to find peace and serenity. And I've lost my way by myself recently. So I came out seeking to be part of a team that's doing meditation so that I can seek with others what I could not find by myself. So meditation was peace inside myself when I would try to be in my own garden, but you can only tend your own garden in peace, and the rest of the world needs peace as well. So part of the Buddhist tradition is to spread peace to others, not just to self.
Thank you, sir, and welcome. Anyone else? Yeah.
I think when I'm meditating, I'm like looking for stillness and not necessarily like getting it. We'll get distracted really easily, and it seems like the more that you meditate, the harder it gets sometimes. But like sometimes you're trying to push the distractions away, but sometimes they're pleasant too. And like when I think about letting them come and go, I think it makes the whole experience a little bit more enjoyable and like easier to find that stillness in it.
Meditation for me is constantly forgetting that I'm supposed to be meditating and then being like, oh yeah, I need to focus on my breath. And then my thoughts fill my brain and I get lost for a little bit. And then I'm like, oh, meditating, let me get back to the breath. And that's the entire experience. It's just remembering to return to the present moment all the time because I'm constantly forgetting.
Meditation for me is stillness of the mind and the body,
rest for the mind, especially now with all the technology. I'm sure others in here, I experience a lot of cravings with technology and trying to let go of that. It's been affecting my sleep and my, to-dos. But it's also getting out of my own way. It's a connection to source and to others. And I feel a true peace and forgiveness when I can be still with myself. And I can be still with myself. I find a true love with everyone around me.
Meditation for me is discovering my habitual patterns of thought, like noticing, oh yeah, I'm worried about that again. Oh, I'm thinking about that again. I seem to think about that a lot. And then it's also exercising the muscle of returning to my breath or returning to how my body is feeling.
A method I found not too long ago was watching my mind. The teacher that said, watch, be in silence and watch your mind like you are watching a play. And it's so fascinating. Yeah, next thing you know, I do a lot of planning, what I'm going to say to that person, what I'm going to do next. But I'm not involved in it. I'm watching that mind going on.
So for me, coming into the Buddhist faith was like fine tuning a channel that I didn't know existed.
To describe meditation for me is asking me to describe the indescribable. It's something I really have to experience. And it allowed me to move beyond name and form, beyond mind and body. And it removed the obscurities in my mind, the concept, views, opinions, and judgments, so I can return to my natural, innate, clear mind. And that's what it does. It allowed me to come back to my natural, true nature, a moment of clarity, purity, and spontaneity. And that way I can display my own humanity and my own human decency daily. And it becomes easier. As the speaker said earlier, I'm allowed to become a witness to my own thoughts. And that's just what they are. They're thoughts in the mind that obscure the clear mind. And that's why I continue to practice all these years later, so I can maintain that level of clarity, that level of purity and spontaneity, so I can display my own humanity and my own human decency daily.
So, thank you, each of you. And did you notice it was all different? Yeah. There were a few themes, all this thinking and the show that keeps going on. So, there's just a little, I don't know what you call it when you bring out a white. Here we go. So, if we're looking at Buddhism and meditation from the tradition, the original word for meditation was bhavana. And bhavana, it means bringing into being. Yeah. And it refers to mental and spiritual exercises aimed at cultivating wholesome mental states that facilitate realization of the path of Buddhism. And I really am fascinated by the little story I found in some searching of reference material, how the Buddha why he was always talking about bhavana, not meditation, because meditation was a word that came when Buddhism reached Europe and bhavana got translated as meditation. So let's look at the original word a little bit and what it means. And this comes from the little story. This type of cultivation is compared to that of a farmer who cultivates a field. The farmer is performing bhavana when he or she prepares the soil and plants seeds. And in a way, we have what we call the alaya consciousness, which has all the seeds of our behavior. And we're always in the process of watering the seeds. It could be watering angry seeds, could be watering benevolent seeds. I imagine that when Buddha chose this word to talk about meditation, he had in mind the ordinary farms and fields of his native India. Unlike our word meditation or contemplation, his term, bhavana, is musty, rich, and verdant. It's not earthy in a sense. It smells of the earth. The commonness of his chosen terms suggests naturalness, everydayness, ordinariness. The term also suggests hope. No matter how fallow it has become or damaged it may be, a field can always be cultivated. Remember the chickens. Endlessly enhanced, enriched, developed to produce a favorable and nourishing harvest. So being a little hooked on gardening, this little definition really resonates with me, that I'm always in the process of cultivating and watering seeds and weeding and all of that. Yeah. And so over time, and even into this present day, bhavana has had many different forms. And so if you look on the internet, you'll find so many different ways to meditate. I'm sure everyone has done a little bit of that. But let's look back at the traditional ones. So there are different bhavanas, specific kinds. And this bhavana called samatha is the development of calm abiding. So a meditation that helps us to do calm abiding. Vipassana is the cultivation of insight. Yeah. And then we go down to chitta bhavana, which is the development of the mind. So that chitta word is mind. Yeah. And then kaya is body. And so there are body meditations. In fact, every time we breathe, we're working with this kaya kind of meditation. And then after kaya is metta. We've heard it as loving kindness. It's about developing benevolence. And then pana is another word for prajna, which is wisdom, meditation. And then the samadhi meditation is concentration meditation. And that's what we do a lot when we start out at this temple in our tradition, saying that if people cannot concentrate and keep mind steady as thoughts come and go in the process of cultivation, then it's hard to go on from that. So we may take decades to practice this concentration. And then I put other, because if you go on the internet, you'll find lots of different meditation apps where you are, how many have done meditation apps here? A few, almost everybody, yeah. Okay. So what you're depending on is all these words and guidance. Whereas these other kind of meditation, and including Wadu meditation, it's really self-help. You got to do it yourself. You have to keep coming back over and over again to yourself. And in our tradition, not only is the formal sitting meditation a practice of cultivation, but our chanting is a practice of cultivation. And some people really resonate with that over sitting still and being quiet. Yeah. And as we do our bowing and prostration, it's kind of a form of this kaya meditation. And some people do hundreds and thousands of prostrations each week as part of their practice. More so in the Tibetan tradition. There's really a lot of prostrating. And we consider manual work also to be a meditation practice. And that's why we have our together actions. Because it's not only a developing concentration and working with Dharma, but it's working with Sangha, these together actions. So manual work is also a kind of meditation. So now you can think, oh, cleaning my toilet, meditation. You know, cooking my meals, meditation. Repairing my clothing, folding my laundry, meditation. All of that counts. And what you will do is find where you resonate. You know, as you come and hear with other people, you get to be exposed to different people giving different talks, different practices over time. Okay, so one of the things, when the Buddha was asked to teach meditation to someone, he said, not first. And he said, before you do meditation, or I guess before we started, it's really important to practice generosity. Get generosity as an easy practice for yourself. Willing to offer, to be of service, to let go. And then he said, after generosity, it is keeping the precepts. And the precepts are the moral guidelines, the ethical guidelines, not to harm, not to steal, not to lie, not to misuse, those kinds of things. But to speak the truth and to cherish all life. So you got to be generous. It's kind of like preparing the ground in a way. And then keeping the precepts, because if you're lying and stealing, it's pretty hard to concentrate. It's a mind that's not stable or concentrated. That's what the Buddha said. So then, after that kind of cultivation, meditation practice. And meditation has been called like part of a practice. So it isn't just meditation as a practice. And this little, some verses that I found help to see what practice means. when you sit down or when you stand up to the sink or take care of whatever you're taking care of. What does it mean to have a practice? It means we have the ability to remake ourselves. We don't have to be defined by others or by accident or even by wealth and opportunity. We have a method: generosity, keeping the precepts, meditating, or chanting, or prostrations. We have a method and we use it. We do what few other people are willing to do, to make many small acts each day that build into change. That's how we safeguard our health and our sanity. What does it mean to have a practice? It means that we understand that there are no quick changes. This is not an instant thing, and we live in an instant-oriented society. So it means that we understand that there are no quick changes, that the only way to have a chance of moving with the seasons, with circumstance, with aging, is to make many gradual alterations. That takes patience and it takes perseverance. That steady effort is all we really need. What does it mean to have a practice? It means that we clear our minds, that we participate in each day, that we adjust cheerfully and quickly to any changes in our lives, that we manage to continue our practice. Remember, hold that in your hands for a moment in your heart and mind, your practice. You've got one. The thing is to always return to it more quickly than the last time. Right? That we have the practice and we manage to continue our practice even as we answer all of our other obligations. So my teacher, the person in the picture around the corner, always used to say, keep your practice 24/7. And it doesn't mean that, oh, you've got to be 100% on it. It means you keep coming back to it 24/7. So you develop a muscle with it. At first, maybe there'll be 5 hours and you didn't practice one bit, or 5 days, or 5 weeks. But then you come back over and over again, coming back. And so that means that we learn in the midst of our lives that we can always practice, be fresh in each very moment. What does it mean to have a practice? It means we are fully centered in ourselves. We're starting to learn to be stable. Yeah. We are seldom overwhelmed or shocked because we have constantly in the midst of orientating ourselves. And if I just may offer some examples, for instance, I know Tong-san here is one of our seminary students. She does a tremendous amount of chanting on her way to work and goes for walks in the woods, chanting and reciting verses. That's the thing for her. Hyun also does a lot of chanting and feels like it's equivalent. This is Hyun, this is Tong-san. Yeah. It's equivalent to her meditation practice, and it is. So we're all in the process of trying to figure out kind of what is my practice? What generosity can I be doing? What precepts do I need to work with? And how is my meditation? Let's see if I can be regular with it, even if it's only 2 minutes that you sit down once a day. That's a beautiful start. It's called stop. Be a little quiet, if possible. Okay, now two more things. Let's see what the time is. I'm always running out of time. Speaking too much. I was looking up Buddha nature the other day, and because I think that a lot of people come to the temple and they think it's because they're suffering. their stress or whatever it is. But I think ultimately each of us want to be awakened and truly ourselves. Hyung-Chul spoke about that clear place. It's always there. And our teacher wrote something about this in his year-end address in 1995. Here it is. It's called This. This, always available in and around you. This, always present fully in front of your eyes. This is not subject to the melodrama of impermanence and cycle of samsara. This, neither born nor annihilated, or neither defiled nor immaculate, is well beyond your attachments and grasp. If you understand and realize this greatly liberated one who comes and goes like wind and rain in the space, no holy teachers or books will confuse you, and nothing will let you down anymore, and you will not get lost on the information superhighway. What is this? Question and keep questioning. Meditate and keep meditating until you're left with your original Buddha mind, bright with great joy and happiness. Yes. Finally, a practitioner, Buddhist teacher in Florida, said this. When I was in my early 20s, I practiced so I could rid myself of vexations like guilt and fear. I sought after freedom and awakening. I tried everything from prolonged seated meditation, sleeping, not lying down, to repentance prostration, several hundred a day, to reading Zen texts. The more I did these things, the more entangled I became. I was seeking and rejecting. Not interesting? I was seeking and rejecting. Then something shifted. I gave up all of the contrivance and just offered my life to each task at hand. Body like a rag. Mind like a mirror. In all that I did, offering everything, I'm doing this to support for him the monastery and others. So it's going to take wisdom and experience to see where you are and how much you're contriving and how much is naturally flowing and coming. So you just do what harmonizes with your situation. Pretty beautiful. It's that cultivation. Feeding, planting, reinforcing, watering. Yeah. So let's just finish the 4 great vows. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
With a little generosity.
with a little generosity,
with a little cherishing,
with a little cherishing,
with a little meditation,
with a little meditation,
and sometimes a washing rag.
and sometimes a washing rag.
So, announcements. Here's Kasadi. She uses a dust rag in our library.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
It is really wonderful to have you all here this morning. And I have a few announcements to share with you. So next Sunday's service, same time, is our Children's and Families service. Oh, it's not?
All Sangha service.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All Sangha service with some special programming and a special story. And so, am I good?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
New Year's on the 11th or the 10th?
The 11th. It's at the 11th.
That's Sunday service.
Sunday service.
And what are we celebrating?
The Lunar New Year.
Oh,
Year of the Dragon.
yeah.
And you know, I heard there might be a special guest of some kind of a creature, and you can imagine what that might be between now and next week.
Groundhog?
It could be a groundhog
Bigfoot. My bet's on Bigfoot.
or a Bigfoot. So we have some programs, ways that you can keep coming back to your practice and back to the temple. We have an introductory meditation class, and this is offered in 2 formats. A 5-week session that meets on Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., which will begin on February 15th. If Thursday nights are not great for your schedule, we also have an overnight class, and that is on February 23rd to the 24th. And it has the same content of the Introduction to Meditation class that is weekly, but in one weekend. And you also get to stay overnight in the temple and get a little bit of a taste of what it is to practice here in the temple in that way. We also offer yoga classes, and those are Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And I believe those are ongoing, and they start February 20th. Is that right?
But there's some going on now.
Oh, it's going on now. Okay, excellent.
That's a kind of kaya meditation to take yoga.
And we also have an e-bulletin, and you can find out about these events and other events by signing up for our e-bulletin. And there is a sign-up sheet right out here in the lobby. And so I encourage you all to sign up for the e-bulletin if you aren't already. There are also some study groups, I believe, that are meeting today, one of which is...
Recovery Garden will be meeting in the historic Buddha Hall, the big yellow building right next door at noon.
Awesome. Great. And I believe, is there another group that is meeting? Yes.
Yes. In this particular meeting, we're going to attempt a miracle. Okay. I'm sure we're going to succeed. The miracle being, we used to have a few years ago a group called Mindful Transitions. Before we renamed it to Mindful Transitions, it was Aging, Death, and Dying. What an exciting opportunity.
Could be.
Lousy marketing, so Mindful Transitions. And that truly is what you kind of learn here with meditation. You try to experience the meditation practice, and then be careful, once you think you have it down, flips. Not the same again. And that's the same is true with almost everything in life. We try to have some consistency in our lives, and it never happens. You never step in the same pond twice. Except this afternoon, the Mindful Transition Group. We used to do that here, face to face, before COVID. And then COVID came along and we've been doing it virtually ever since. It's been an active group, but without me coming up here to announce it, nobody ever quite saw that there was such a thing. Well, I'm telling you, there is, and we're gonna do it again, but it won't be the same. So, join us again about 12 o'clock. We're gonna be meeting next door, and this is a great opportunity to explore something that people don't particularly care to share. It's the experience of getting older, which I happen to be one of those. In fact, Maju and I have the same birth year, so she's old. So this is a big transition, hopefully mindful transition opportunity for me as well. So anybody that has issues about aging, death, and dying, and who doesn't, this is a very comfortable group in which to explore that transition, amongst other transitions. We've had people over the years come with going through divorce, losing a job, any number of things, but it has typically been focused on aging, death, and dying. So if you'd like to discuss that in a comfortable environment, please join us at noon.
It's in our conference room and then it's on the house.
It's a gray building right back here. If you go out to the left, and go across the yard, it's a big gray building.
To prepare this room for yoga class, as we're leaving, can we leave the mats and cushions here if they're touching the carpet? But then the other mats and cushions, the ones in the rows behind, let's stack up the mats in that corner, the cushions on the shelf, and the mats and cushions in the second row here on that platform.
Please stand.
Wait, there's one more thing. We do have an opportunity for Together Action today. This is something we have been doing for a while. And so one piece of Together Action is when we had the snowplow out back, they pushed a lot of gravel onto the grass. And so we need 3 volunteers to spend 15 minutes after the service with rakes, raking the gravel back onto the parking lot. So can I have 3 volunteers?
I got 2 hands, is that Thomas 2 volunteers?
No, just one.
Can you do wheel breaks?
And then I
Yes,
also,
Just meet out the back.
yeah, just meet out back. And then I also need 2 volunteers to help. We're actually in the midst of just beginning the process of setting up an art room at the top of the shop. It's going to be used for meetings and also artwork and art kind of programs. But I need a little bit of help moving some art supplies up there. So if I could have 2 volunteers to help with that. All right, good. 3, even better. Okay, we're also going to meet out there. Thank you.
Please stand. And we'll do 3 finals for a moment.
Bring it up. She's the boss of the rest of us.
I'm into the service. I just a little hot to get everybody in here. Cup of tea and
How many feet of water did you need? 11 inches, the whole basement. It was, yeah.
Somehow I got ran from the neighborhood.
Oh, no.